Hello, I am Tyonna Harris, and this is my digital story project for Sociology of Religion. Throughout this project, you will hear about my experience that I had at the church that I visited, so I hope that you all enjoy. I have been going to church for as long as I can remember, and I can say that there is nothing like a good old Baptist church, though I can say, out of my 21 years of living, I've never visited another denomination's church. The thought never crossed my mind. So for this project, I decided to visit a non-denominational church in Greenville, South Carolina. No, that's not a big difference from a Baptist church, but it was a big step for me. Religion is a big part of many people's lives, and I'm just happy that I was able to experience the way that other people worship and open my mind to new things. The church that I decided to visit was a non-denominational megachurch in Greenville, South Carolina. I heard a lot about it, good and bad, so I decided that this would be the perfect platform for me to be able to go and visit and check everything out. The church is fairly new, and it just went through a name change as well as a leadership change, though the pastor, John Gray, is seasoned in the game to say the least. He has been around for as long as I can remember. He has always been able to give good uplifting words to his followers and his followers' followers. And one of my favorite quotes of his is, "God will always prepare you for the place he is taking you. What looks overwhelming for you now will feel natural when you get there. This is how you know it's supernatural." This quote to me is very powerful, and I just wanted to give you all this so that you can get a taste of the type of word that I got while I was there with Pastor John Gray and the rest of his community. Non-denominational Christianity consists of churches which typically distance themselves from the confessionalism or creedalism of other Christian communities by calling themselves non-denominational. Part of me wanted to use this opportunity to go to a church that was completely different from my Baptist roots. But when I heard that John Gray was preaching in Greenville, I knew that that was a church I needed to go to, and this would be the perfect opportunity to do so. And no, it's not that different from what I'm used to, but it was a new experience. Religion is the belief in worship and of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods. The definition of Christianity is a religion based on persons and teachings of Jesus of Nazareth, or its beliefs and practices. Throughout this video, I'm going to tell you about my experience at the Relentless Church and what I observed at my time at the church. The environment was different than what I'm used to. The congregation was huge. The singing was like a concert. It wasn't your typical, people with the tambourines and the regular piano and the drum sets. It was a big production. It was almost like a play. They had the words playing on the television so that people could sing along. It was really fun and different from what I'm used to. The church was very diverse, and I was pleased by that. It was very big, and it wasn't a lot of people in the congregation that engaged in the sermon verbally. I would probably say about 10%. It was hundreds of us in there, though. So 10% was still a big number in that vicinity. I'm not sure if I could guess the exact amount of us, but it was a lot. The congregation had a pretty good mix of racial diversity. When I asked one of the leaders, she told me that it was about 50% African American, 30% white, and 20% unknown. The leadership is new and well known, and I can tell that instead of the pastor John Gray himself making connections personally, he has a lot of his other leadership members do that with him and fill that void that he cannot do right now. There's a good mix of male and female leaders in the church. I did feel kind of warm and welcome in the church, even though it was not personally from the pastor, which is what I'm used to, the pastor talking to you personally, knowing your name and getting to know you. But obviously this church was much bigger than what I'm used to, and that was not an option. During the worship experience, I felt completely engaged and accepted, and I was connected. Though I can't say nobody did anything that made me feel unwanted or unwelcome. I did not get to meet with Pastor John Gray himself, though I met with Mariah briefly and I asked her a few questions. I told her that I noticed that it was a good mixture of diversity in the church, and I asked her, what did she think about the community? And she told me that the community was very diverse. It does not matter whether you're old or young, what your identity is or what your race is. Everybody needs good worshiping, and that's exactly what you get when you go to their church. I continued to talk to her, and I stated how proud and honored I was that there were so many women in leadership, and if that was something that they talked about personally in their church. And she said no, it was nothing that they talked about. If you feel the word and you feel the spirit and God moves in you, you step up to be a leader in the church, and that's just some things that happened with them in their church, and none of it was intentional. That's just how things were. I asked her if there were certain teachings and things like that that they pride themselves in or on. The church is very, very new. That was only their second Sunday together. And so, she just said whatever John feels, whatever he feels in his spirit, whatever God comes to him and tells him to speak about, that's what will be spoken about that day. They don't have any textbook answers or anything like that that are laid out for them. They kind of just let the word move them, and that is what they will talk about and what they will preach about that Sunday. She is one of the youth pastors, and she said it is the same thing for her. There's no guideline and storybook that she goes by. Whatever she feels when she wakes up, whatever message is given to her, that's what she will speak about in church that Sunday, as well as her husband, who is the other youth minister in the church. And once again, they are fairly new as a team. And that is one thing that I can say I am a little upset about with my experience, because I visited a church that was so new and they only been together for 2 weeks that it was not many questions that I could ask. And it was a lot of things that I wanted to know and I was eager to know, but there's just not a lot of information for me. I have nothing but respect and admiration for the pastor and his teachings. This was one of my favorite quotes from Pastor John Gray. All souls weigh the same and carry equal value with the Most High, God. And don't be casual with ones closest to you either. We treat strangers better than we treat spouses and friends and family sometimes. Trust me, I've been there. Don't let it be you. Be loving, be kind, be sweet, be nice. You don't know what people are going through. Pastor John Gray is very inspirational, and I am very disappointed that I did not get the opportunity to speak to him personally, and I know that he was very busy, but that was just another quote for you all to kind of get a gist of the type of lessons and preaching and words that I got while I was in their presence and in his house and in the house of the Lord with him and the things that he was teaching me. I definitely enjoyed my time at the church, and I would feel comfortable coming back, not just because I was welcomed by the community and the people around me and it felt like a big family, a huge family, but it's also because I'm familiar with the pastor since he's so known and, he has powerful teachings. Pastor John Gray is so much more than just a pastor. He has his own television show that was given to him by Oprah. He's been around for about 20 years. He has a book called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, and that was actually how I was first introduced to him. And I really just appreciate that he has other things going on in his life and other things that he does to let us know that he is a person outside of church. And sometimes pastors and people in the church can make you feel like they're almost above you in a sense, and that they're not regular people and they don't do regular things and they don't live regular life. But he is somebody that shows his congregation that he is a regular person and he does things just like we do. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed my project, and I hope that you learned some things about non-denominational churches that was different from the church that you decided to visit.